Alright, imagine you are driving down a busy highway and suddenly all the traffic lights are turned off. Nobody knows when to stop. Nobody knows when to go. And everyone is just tapping their brakes, terrified of a massive crash. That is exactly what the cryptocurrency market looks like right now for institutional giants. Big players want to step on the gas, but they are frozen in place because the rules of the road simply do not exist. But what if the traffic lights are about to turn bright green? A recent post on X by Good Evening Crypto has set the community on fire, highlighting critical commentary from crypto legal advocate John Deaton. He is shedding light on a massive legislative shift called the Clarity Act. This is a law that he says will absolutely massive, not just for XRP, but for Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. So in this video, we are breaking down the shifting regulatory framework, how it impacts the big three digital assets, and exactly why the institutional waiting game is about to come to a definitive end. Alright? Now let's start with our very first question about why does John Deaton compare the current market to an orange light? Alright? To understand where we are going, we have to look at the analogy John Deaton laid out. He breaks down the history of crypto regulation into three distinct phases using a traffic light system. He describes the past as a brutal red light period. This was a time dominated by unexpected enforcement actions and relentless legal lawsuits that essentially lock the doors to big financial institutions. Right now, Deaton states we have progressed into an orange light phase. The extreme danger of the red light is fading, but institutions are still tapping their brakes. They are proceeding with extreme caution because the rules are still ambiguous and unwritten. The Clarity Act is designed to completely smash this bottleneck and transition the entire financial landscape into a permanent green light environment. It formally writes digital asset rules into hard law, removing the guesswork completely. Alright, in my opinion, I look at this orange light status and see a massive hidden opportunity. The general public views regulatory ambiguity as a reason to be scared, but smart money sees it as an accumulation window. So in my view, when rules are written into formal law, the risk premium drops. By the time the light turns fully green, the asset prices will likely have already adjusted to reflect that safety. Waiting for absolute certainty means you are paying a premium for that peace of mind. So I believe this caution period is the ultimate setup for the observant investor. Alright? Now, how will legal stability unlock trillions from legacy finance? The core of Deaton's argument rests on institutional confidence. Right now, major financial powerhouses think of massive asset managers and legacy brokerage giants like Charles Schwab are sitting on trillions of dollars of capital. Right? They aren't avoiding crypto because they hate it. They are avoiding it because their compliance departments won't let them touch an asset class that could be randomly penalized by shifting political tides. Deaton highlights that the Clarity Act provides a durable framework that survives political transitions. It stops the threat of sudden lawsuits, claiming that past transactions were unregistered securities offerings. When a firm like Charles Schwab uh, knows the rules cannot be randomly altered on a political whim, they can open the floodgates. They can offer direct digital asset services to millions of traditional retail retirement accounts, changing the liquidity profile of the market permanently. So, my opinion is that institutional capital is incredibly lazy until it is perfectly safe. They don't want to innovate, they want to integrate. The moment the Clarity Act removes the personal liability from fund managers, buying digital assets will become as standard as buying an index fund. So, in my view, we are watching the birth of a brand new institutional asset class, and the institutional inflows from these legacy platforms will create a permanent price floor that we have never seen before in crypto history. So, why are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP the chosen beneficiaries? Alright? It is easy to think that a new law would benefit every single random token in existence. But Deaton specifically zeroes in on the big three, and that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. And the question is why? Because these are the large cap assets that institutions actually care about. They have the deep liquidity, the historic track records, and the established network infrastructure that massive global funds require. A clear regulatory law means that these three assets get explicit classifications. Bitcoin remains the undisputed digital gold. Ethereum solidifies its status as the institutional smart contract playground, and XRP steps fully into its role as the global settlement and liquidity rail. Instead of fighting each other for dominance, a green light environment allows each asset to thrive within its specific financial niche, drawing and tailored capital from different sectors of global finance. So, in my opinion, this target focus makes perfect sense. Big institutions aren't looking to buy highly speculative meme coins. They want blue chip digital infrastructure. So, in my view, the Clarity Act will create a massive divide in the market. The money will flow directly into the assets that have proven utility and legal clearance. XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum will capture the lion's share of this institutional wealth because they are the only vehicles large enough to absorb that scale of capital without breaking. Alright, overall, the insights shared by John Deaton and X remind us that the crypto revolution is no longer a fringe movement hiding in the corners of the internet. It is transitioning directly into the halls of Congress and the boardrooms of the largest financial entities on the planet. The shift from a restrictive red light to a cautious orange light has been painful. It is very, very painful. But the ultimate prize is a permanent legislated green light. The Clarity Act represents the codification of the market. It takes the power away from aggressive regulatory bodies and hands clear, predictable guidelines to innovators and investors alike. While certain price movements can be noisy and distracting, the underlying structural foundation is being poured in concrete right now. For anyone navigating these markets, tracking these legal milestones is far more valuable than watching daily percentage gains or losses. The institutions are paving the road. The traffic lights are getting ready to change, and the digital asset economy is about to step into its most mature phase yet. So we need to stay disciplined, watch the regulatory developments closely, and keep those hands diamond. And this finally ends our video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next one. Or you might just as well check this recommended video right here.